You are listening to Revealing Real Estate Podcast, where we dive into getting over your fear of taking risk in real estate and making money while you sleep. I'm Nico Pedizano, your host and real estate guru with over 20 years of experience. It's time to get real. All right, we're going to have a wonderful episode on today. We have a wonderful lady, Judy Romeo from Judy Romeo Interiors, who does home staging. And we're going to talk about the importance of home staging and why every single house that gets listed on the market should have somebody like Judy to walk inside and actually at least give some consultation of what needs to get done to prepare a home so that we can showcase it well. So Judy, welcome to the show and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. We're excited to have you on because I think there's so much that gets missed when it comes to home staging and why it's important. A lot of all my properties, I'm either going to get you inside to do a staging consultation or to do a full home stage or to just kind of reposition the furniture inside the home. And it has been a really big focal point of why my homes sell at top dollar, which has created so much longevity within the business because it creates so much. So I want to kind of dive in a little bit to that. And first and foremost, you know, if you could just, how long you been doing home staging? How long you been in the business?
4 years.
4 years now.
Yeah.
Nice. And is this something that you've invested in by owning your own furniture? Like as soon as you're on your first stage, did you buy your own furniture or did you start renting your own furniture?
The first stage, I remember we rented, and it sort of builds, right? Then you buy your first accessory and get stored in your basement, and then you start to build more accessories, you get a little storage, and then you end up becoming like a full-fledged inventory. So we're definitely building on that inventory. We're not renting as much, but yeah.
Yeah, and not renting them as much. Why? Is it because, you know, so there's different options of that. You can start buying your inventory and owning your own furniture, versus renting the furniture. But I feel like, from my understanding of the business, renting is a lot more expensive.
Not necessarily, but you also don't have the control of the design. That was it for me, right? Like,
right.
When you're renting from somebody, something that you want is not available. It's rented out by somebody else. So it compromises my design or my vision for that property. When you're buying your own furniture, you're buying everything that you like. So you never have to compromise the style of a family room or of anything in the house because it's what I want for my properties. I want to have that look and I want to carry that throughout my property. Sometimes the look does get compromised when you're renting.
Yeah, and I think I think, you know, being up to date with furniture, though, I think that the benefit on the rental side of things is that hopefully the rental company that is always up to date and with the new water stuff and trending stuff.
For sure.
You know, because sometimes we get into some high-end homes where, you know, the $5-6 million.
Oh, yeah.
And the staging costs could actually, you know, we get into the $7,000 to $10,000 range, right? Or tens of thousands.
And sometimes I've done both. I have my own inventory and I use one of my, and like I've made great relationships with vendors and there's some awesome vendors that we have here. So sometimes it's a mix of both, but my focus when I get a stage is that how do I execute that vision? Like, how do I get in there? What needs to be in there? And sometimes we're buying furniture on the spot. You know, the rental company doesn't have something or I don't have something. And so it has to be, you know, on the spot. We're out that day, something breaks or whatever. It's happened before.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when you have control of your vision of the look of the house, that's what really matters for me. Price-wise, you know, like obviously you're looking for, when you're a business owner, you're looking for obviously what's best for the business.
Yeah.
But it didn't hurt me in any way by renting at the beginning. If someone is out there starting their business and they don't have, you know, anything extra laying around to build an inventory, can get expensive. It's totally fine to rent.
Yeah, and I think it's minimal cost. You don't have to make a big investment into that business, and I think there's such great opportunity out there for people that want to get into the business.
Come with owning inventory too sometimes, right? Something gets damaged, you're responsible for that.
Which is yours, and now you lost all this value. How can you bring in or have the table that's scratched?
And who's moving it for you and how you're getting it there. So I think you have to get to that point in your business when you're ready. You're ready to take on the cost. You're ready to take on the headache. You're ready to take on all the logistics of it. So there's a lot of moving parts. But you start out, I think you always kind of start out renting from vendors first.
That's great. So, you know, I gotta... what I feel from a real estate perspective is that, and when I look on the MLS and I see a lot of homes, even that they're vacant, you know, or there wasn't enough time put into, you know, getting that property prepared, and I truly believe home staging really makes the difference. and I'll get into a little bit of my opinion on it in a little bit later. But if I can ask you a question, why should real estate agents currently out there in the market work on either getting a consultation by you or get that property staged?
So staging, like you mentioned, a consultation, which is a good thing to mention because people automatically think full staging, spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, bringing in up. There's so many different levels to present a house. And so, yes, your first thing is a consultation. You leave the house without your shoes.
No.
And when you have a beautiful suit on, you leave with running shoes.
Correct. My thought exactly.
So it's a marketing aspect, right? Your
Presentation.
right? So you're going to take photos of the property. You're going to put your name on it. It's part of a marketing package. You're going to take photos. You're going to take a drone video. You're going to do all this stuff. Staging has, in my opinion, in today's day and age, I think it has to be a part of the marketing package. You have to include that into your costs because it just comes all together.
Yes, you're right. And I think, it helps people visualize a lot. And I find that, when somebody's going to walk into a family room and have family room is vacant, it's like, well, how do we position ourselves to where we're going to watch TV or where we're going to, sit and but then the family room is a very kind of cozy environmental place. Like it's either we're in the kitchen or we're in the family most of the times in my house, right?
You have a 10,000 square foot house and 90% of your time is in your kitchen and your family.
Correct.
They're usually next to each other.
Correct.
So obviously there's tons of stats out there when you look up home staging, but within the first 30 seconds of a potential buyer coming into the home, that's when they're making their judgment or their decision on that property already. Yes. So you have to kind of capture them from that moment. And whether it's staging, whether it's cleanliness, organization, like there's tons of services we offer. It's not just the staging. Like we're full service. So we'll come in, we'll do the consultation. Maybe your home needs painting. Yep. Maybe your home needs new light fixtures. Yep. Maybe needs decluttering services. You need to move a lot of junk out. Like we offer everything from the beginning right until the end.
So you help with the cluttering of the property as well. And that's just them packing their stuff. Because I tell people all the time, I'm very confident in my abilities to do what I do every day. And I let them know that, hey, listen, when I come in here and you are committed to getting this property sold, I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
So start packing.
Yeah.
Get ready to move. Get boxes.
Like you're going to have to move it anyways. And I put it into their head, right? I'm like, you have to move this furniture anyways. So let's move it. Let's move it now. Whether we have to find, and I have partners with storage companies, so we can store it for them. That's not a problem. Sellers have to do some homework. I give them homework to do, but we'll come in and we'll start decluttering. We can box it for you. I have a team of girls that'll come in, that'll box, that'll move everything. My handyman, even if we're talking about like full repairs or like remodels, right? Because they want to put that value into their home. We'll come in, we'll change your floors, we'll do everything, even before staging. And then obviously the staging day. And then we can even come back on the day of photos. Let's just say there's something in between to just kind of style the place. We can do that too.
Yeah. And a lot of times I recommend to people, go with the modern colors that are going to make your house pop, right? Because sometimes people, when they're mixing it, for myself, I'm not very good at that aspect of the business. Like for me to visualize a room and how it's going to look, I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
And my wife is not that good at it, right? So I'm like, okay, if I'm working on redesigning a property, I need a designer to come in. If I'm looking to get a home stage, I'm going to hire a professional to do a professional's job and get it done the right way because they're going to give you the advice. They're going to put things together. They're going to show you. They're going to build it all up. And that's what it's about. And they're neutral.
Yeah, they're emotional of the property. So they see it from a neutral perspective, like what's best return for their investment, right? Like you said, Nick's going to come in. He's going to sell this property. His team's going to sell it. You want to put everything in there that's going to help sell it.
I want people to fix like leaky faucets. If I see a faucet that's driven, like, I want that fixed. Sometimes you walk into a bathroom and, you see the cracks and the caulking's all cracked. Get it recaulked, right? If the paint's not flowing well, get the stage. Let's go with my stager's design color, what she's preferring to paint the walls. Yeah. Because, your painting cost is your lowest cost, but your highest return, right? If you spend $6,000 in staging, in painting, you're going to get about $6,000 evaluation, but you're going to get 100% of that money back, plus another 100, probably another $6,000 on top just for that, right? And then, fixing up kitchens and decorating the kitchens and all that stuff. And I'm sure you got a lot of empty Perrier waters and stuff.
I used to do that. Stagers are very, we have multiple personalities when it comes to design. We have, we want to be fun sometimes and colorful, and then sometimes I want to be muted and monotone. And so like, that's the fun part of being a stager too, right? It's like something that I wouldn't necessarily decorate in my house. I get to put in other people's houses, right? So that's the fun part.
Yeah, and that's the fun part, and seeing how it all comes together, right? And then something, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to use this in my house too, right?
Totally.
You can get a lot of that stuff, but being innovative to understand, like I remember when gold came out, right? And everything was just gold plated, gold faucets, gold, and I knew 2 years or 3 years prior, but that was told from another stager that we were using that said, oh, gold is the next, next thing to come out, right? What's the next big design? Do you know? Like, is it like and it's just a raw question. That
I see a lot of.
What do you think is coming out?
I see a lot of bright colors.
Bright colors?
Yeah, like monotones are always awesome. I'm a lover of monotone and monochromatic color schemes, and I just came back from Miami, and so I just see down there in properties and what you see here are totally different. Like completely different styles. Like, you're in Florida, you're in Miami, you're somewhere hot.
Yeah. They got those bright, vibrant, trendy colors. That's how.
Such a way that they do it that it's not in your face, right? 'Cause colors can be
It's still elegant.
powery, right? But I think the next trend for sure, I think bright colors are going to make a comeback. They're already starting to.
Like the bright greens and the bright reds, things like that. Like,
I think you're sort of definitely into like the brasses are still awesome. But there's a great mix of brass and black. And black's not going away.
yeah.
I think chrome and nickel, they've had their day. I don't think they're ever going to come back as an overpowering scheme. But little touches of it, I think they work. Because we do interior design as well.
So interior designing, meaning if somebody wanted to help redesign their property or they've just purchased a home, you would go there and help them pick out their furniture. And
I'm going to do interior design from ground up. Like I have 2 custom homes this year that we're doing with a builder. And I'm working with the architect and we're working basically from ground up.
so you'll go and pick out tile selection, the millwork, kitchen cabinetry colors and stuff like that. And I'm seeing a trend. And I see a lot, social media, what's it called? There's that app that you can look at that has all the different kind of photos of different properties. Pinterest, which is pretty good. So I remember when I started in the business 18, 19 years ago, brown kitchens were huge, right? And then we had that transition going into white kitchens, right? Now white kitchens have been there for some time now. Like everybody goes see they want white kitchens.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to see, like there's a builder that I sell for, he had a blue kitchen, which was really, really nice. Gold trimming color-wise, right? The bright colors, the vibrant colors.
Yeah.
Right? So it's changed. I know one client that did a green kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right now, this house that we're doing, I love that hunter emerald green. And we're doing a butler's servery, like a butler's pantry. And it's going to have green onyx marble with some green cabinetry. And we're actually doing white and black checkerboard flooring. Like really going back to like,
wow.
So I think like that's the trend right now, right? Like it's a mix of modern with vintage. But it gives it a really eclectic look and a cozy look. I think houses are becoming more cozy again. There was a period where they were very stark.
Right.
They were white and gray and just, black, and there was no coziness, no layering to it. And now with staging and interior design, there's a lot of layers to it, a lot of textures, a lot of movement.
See, there's so much that goes into it people don't really understand, right? And it's just, and this is a good opportunity to kind of share, make people understand, or if somebody's looking to get into the design or staging business, what's actually involved in it, right? And with so much work in it.
Yeah.
So why do we get into that? Like, so if I called you up and I said, Judy, I got this house, it's vacant, I need it staged, go out there and see what, see what it needs and let me know what it needs to do. We agree, everything's good to go. You go in there and stage. Can you give me kind of how the kind of day looks like for Judy Romeo when she's got to go into getting the home stage? What's it like?
After we've decided that we're staging your home, so we're laying out all the inventory, and we're not even doing the day before. So like 2-3 days before, we're getting everything ready. We're wrapping up all our accessories. We're wrapping up all of our linens. We're wrapping up all the furniture because it's being transported into our trucks. So that takes, sometimes depending on how big the house is, we start like 2-3 days before.
Preparing,
getting our inventory put aside, right? Yeah. Choosing the artwork. So when people see a finished product, they're just assuming it, that time maybe it takes on site 2 to 3 hours, but there's like a week of work that went into that, right? Like you're putting that inventory aside, you're talking to the team, you're getting your movers ready. So that's pretty much the beginning part, and then the day of you have, and then the winter is brutal because like your door is open.
Oh, it's cold and people are walking in with slushy boots.
And it's like, oh, it's such a nightmare in the winter. But yeah, then you're there the day of, and depending on how big the house is, you're there for 2-3 hours, and you're running around and you're grabbing linens and you're going up and down the stairs and you're hanging artwork. And like now I've become so great at hanging artwork in my team. But when I first hung my art piece of artwork, I was sweaty.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I was so nervous. I'm like, am I going to make a crack in this wall?
Especially like if it's a new wall. Right now, you got to put holes in a wall, and like you got to build it and just put all this time and effort into getting this house ready. Now you're putting holes in the wall. It's probably like cringy.
When we do the 3 ends too, right? It depends on what kind of property it is, and usually we have that discussion with the agent or the seller. And sometimes the agent's not involved, and it's between us and the seller. Sometimes it's just the agent, and sometimes it's all three as a team. But the day of, like we're up early, deliveries get done anywhere between 9 and 11 o'clock in the morning. And then you're there all day, depending on how many are going on at the same time. And, and then destaging is the same thing. You're going in, you're wrapping everything, you're packing it up in the box, bringing it back to the storage, and then doing it all over again.
Yeah, it is demanding. It is demanding. But I'm sure you're passionate still, and you love what you do every single day, right? Putting things together and making that for me now, my passion has become within marketing. Where we just had a video last night that went viral, and it hit like 107,000 views and 50. It was so cool to see the hard work from myself and my team. That we put in every day to finally get a video to go viral. That's marketing, right? It gets ourselves out there, gets our brand out there, and that recognition out there, and that, those are celebratory moments, right? To see something come together that you work so hard to build, right? And I think those are one of those situations on it. And I just don't understand why, when somebody's going to give me their listing and their most valuable possession that they ever will own, right? And they entrust that within me. I got to make sure that I'm doing whatever I can as their real estate agent to go inside that house and make it shine, right? So, a lot of the work I put out is making sure that, hey, listen, if we need twilight photos, we need aerial photography, I need to go talk with an innovator to describe this house because it's so unique, or there's a lot of unique features of this product that I got to describe. Yeah. Getting that property ready with a stager is so critical and so important, and I don't understand why so many real estate agents don't make that investment within their business to do it. And that's what's shocking to me the most part, right? Because it number one, I think it helps you sell a house a lot quicker, right?
Statistically, it does.
It does. No. It creates value, right? Most definitely, because now people don't visualize very well, right? If you get somebody like me inside there and you give me a vacant room, okay, where do I start? How do I put this all together, right?
TV, right? That's the first thing.
First thing for me, yeah. For a bad, it's like, where am I putting this TV, right? For me, it's always directed the way to the kitchen, right? So if I'm showing out
bathrooms,
the kitchen and bathrooms for sure. I'm going suites, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm showing the wife, I'm going to have a look at this kitchen. I want to show her to that point, and then the man is like, okay, here's the fabric. Look at where we're going to put the TV.
That's the first thing. And I've literally been in consultations where that's what they're thinking of, right?
Yes.
And they don't. I think I've told agents this before, like I'm on the agent side, I'm on the seller side and the agent side. Like it's a team effort.
You're neutral, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm, if we work together, it can get done. It can get done quickly. It doesn't have to be stressed, but I feel like sellers are very overwhelmed, and I can understand. And it's important even for agents to get to their stager in advance too, right? Like we can turn properties around in 2-3 days. It's not a problem. We've done it, but we prefer like knowing in advance.
Provided inventory is available.
The inventory is available.
Yes, I remember during the pandemic, I couldn't find a stager at one point in time because they were just all sold out of furniture. Like, Nick, I got no furniture to put into these houses.
Literally, we were putting it. Like I was taking from here, taking from there, buying some stuff. But during COVID, it was hard because you were buying things online. But yeah, like when you go in, it's that visualization. And some rooms now, especially in these new houses, they're huge. So it's like, how much furniture can I put in here? There's a lot of open concept properties. Where am I putting our couch? Where am I putting the TV? Where am I putting the like, there's just so much that goes into the layout of it, aside from the style of the furniture. So, and then there's homes that are smaller and they might have like an awkwardly positioned room or a really tiny room, and they can't see a bedroom going in there. So for a buyer coming in, they want to be able, can I put a home office in here? Can I put a twin bed in here for my child?
Yeah, well, it fit properly.
Right?
Correct.
And that's what's important.
So what do you do? Like sometimes in bedrooms that you guys get really creative.
Cribs are always a good way to
Showcase.
to hack a smaller room.
Yeah, I do.
Family area.
I like the when you guys come in there and decorate it so you know that you can say, so if somebody has a boy and then girl child, you put one design for a boy and one design for a girl. Like those are pretty cool features to work with, because you want to play with the emotional side of that buyer, right? You want to really be able to fall in love with that home and make them not just feel as a house, but feel as a home, and how, oh my God, have them visualize, oh my son would love this room. My daughter would love this.
We've been asked, like, can we buy this furniture that's here? Because they love it, right? So they already know that and I get calls even after the fact.
Well, you would sell it if you had to, right? Into the part a bit.
Sure, for it, absolutely.
Why not? It's
something that's brand new, and it's like a one-off.
You said you're not gonna find,
then I'll be more inclined to say no. But I've also helped people, and I'll be like, no problem, but I can help you shop for something similar, and we offer that kind of service too, right? So but that emotional part of it is, just think of us, like when we bought our houses, right? We live in houses, we bought them because we loved them. There was something about them, and that's what staging does. I don't like the word play on the emotion. It capitalizes on that person's emotion, on visualizing themselves and their family in that house.
The way I look at it is, I remember it was my wife's 40th birthday party, and I'm like, oh my God, where do I start? What do I got to do? You know what I mean? Because it was a big thing, right? So I had to get the event space, and now I got to decorate event space. So I don't know one single thing about decorating. I can't even hang up a picture frame the right way. My wife's always getting mad because I'm hiring somebody to do it, but I'd rather have that do it the right way the first time before I mess it up, and then they got to come back and fix it anyway. So get it done the first time, right? So there's that aspect where people throw now parties and stuff like that they go in, they decorate it, right? And I see some really extravagant stuff.
Oh yeah.
Do you do any of that?
Yeah. If we need to set up anything, right? We're even into like hospitality. If we got to stage their lobbies, commercial spaces, we've done some small offices for clients, anything, right? If you think about it, everywhere you go, pretty much there's furniture. There's a lounge chair, a little setup, a coffee table. So it's not just residential. We're into commercial, hospitality, obviously custom houses. We're builder units, right? If we have to do anything like that, they're showcase home models. So pretty much anything.
So any aspect of that you would get involved in. That's good. And so you've been 4 years in business now. If there was something that you could recommend to somebody who wants to get into the staging business or the design business, the first thing that comes to your mind, what would you say to them?
You can't give up. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Because
With the hustle?
if you're starting it depends, right? If you're starting your own company, you have to have a vision, and you can't let the bad days make you slip up or think that it's not possible. Like just when you probably started, with the OP team, right? Like you were in a team of 20 people.
No.
Right? So
No.
so it's the same thing. And so you have to, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and that's just with life in general. But you have to put in the work, and the responsibility falls on yourself. So you have to be, I think, a very eternally strong person, confident person, and give yourself time to grow and give yourself time to learn and ask questions.
Yeah, knowledge is so powerful, right? And you gotta, like, for me as a real estate agent, I look at, okay, what I need to really know my product, right? And I need to know my areas, right? A location, right? So when somebody shoots off, hey, I got a house within this area, this square footage, this size lot, I'm like, oh yeah, you should be falling in the bar park. Right off the top of my head, I already know kind of what the value is for it, right?
Yeah.
And I think somebody who's starting within the staging business, for me, I wish, my biggest thing was finding somebody who would be able to mentor me.
Yes.
If I found another Nick when I was 18 years ago, 20 years ago when I started in the business, and I found another me to help me and guide me and, show me the right path of what I got to do to become successful, I wouldn't have made so many, and I make tons of mistakes, right? It's the only way you're going to learn, it's like you said, right? And don't give, and I didn't give up, right? And that stuck with me. I wish I had a team back then. Teams weren't even around. I was one of the first pioneers in team and growing a team, right? So it's been some time, and I think somebody who is looking to get within your business, because it could be a very lucrative business. And again, there's only, you got to specialize and focus in, give one business 100%, and then you can branch off and do different things from it. right? Like you have done, where it's not just me focusing in on doing a home staging for real estate agents. Now I'm going to be working with builders and party planners and all that stuff. And then you branch off wedding planning, things like that. So there's so much that can branch off from it. But somebody like in that sector who's looking to join, I think they should get into like a mentorship, right?
Yep.
Would you take on somebody within your team who wants to, you know that they're going to be inspiring to go on their own or maybe branch on your own, but would you take somebody on a mentorship program?
I don't mind. We even had someone come in as an intern and they just needed the hours. I don't mind. Like, I taught myself. So it's just the one thing about staging and design, I think you can be taught principles and tricks of the trade, but I think you have to have a very natural talent for it.
It's an art.
It's like
it's an art.
It really is. Like, you have to naturally be good. I've had a lot of people come in and they have the best intentions, but some people just don't get it.
Yes.
It's a very visual field, industry. You have to really see it before you can put it together. And then, so I think that you have to have a natural talent for it. Like, no joke, my girlfriends, we were younger, they were buying Cosmopolitan magazines back when magazines. They were buying Cosmopolitan. I was buying Architectural Digest. Like, I literally still have the magazines. I kept them. And I was just always into homes and interior design. And so I taught myself by reading. I took programs. I went to Humber College. Absolutely. You want to learn the fundamentals of things, right?
But the work experience is there.
But field experience is the best experience.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to come in and they're willing to get their hands dirty and they want to work with us, that's the best way they're going to learn. So for my advice would be find somebody that you can work with, that you can piggyback off of, or whether you're doing it for free, or even if you work with a home stager for a little bit and get that experience, and like, that's okay too. And then take that experience. You want to branch off on your own. That's probably the best way.
And what advice would you give a real estate agent who's not currently investing into getting their home staged before they go up on the market?
A lot of money on the table for your sellers.
Yeah.
I really do. And it's not just
and for themselves, right? Because those are opportunities for me. Is really, I love the ones that don't sell.
Yeah.
Right. Because then they call me in there, like, oh my God, this house was showcased like this. We just got one up in the Western Downs area, and it was sitting on the market for 60 days. And I'm looking at the price point. I'm like, okay, it's priced well. Why isn't it selling?
Right.
Right. But when you went to the house,
Yes,
it was the leaves were all over the grass from the fall. I'm like, okay, first thing is I'm calling my landscaper up. We're blowing up all these leaves, clean it all up. Curb appeal.
absolutely.
That first part of getting into a home is everything.
That's even before you get into the house.
That's even before you get into the house. Then I'm walking. I'm like, when you walk inside, how many times do you see a beautiful, and I think they're coming back, and I love them, sunken family room.
Oh yeah.
And saying, if I build a house, I want a sunken family room. And it's so cool. And it was empty. And the dining room was empty. The kitchen, there was no accessories. And I'm like, this had beautiful hardwood flooring. And I'm like, you know what? Let's get this staged. And let's get it. What's your age? What were they doing? What were they thinking? I never like to criticize anybody or call on anybody. But I'm like, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to come in here. We're going to clean all your leaves. We're going to clean all your windows. We're going to get garbage disposal. We're going to do all this stuff. Yeah. Now this is the service. And with the market changing and where we're going, that level of service before maybe in the market where we came out of, you could get away with it. You're not getting away with that today. And that's why I think the market, and that's where agents are going to have to start looking to improve their business and to want to become successful, is putting that investment and that time to service the client the right way.
Absolutely.
And I think we've been missing that.
Yeah, and that's right. And I feel bad for some agents. Like, I hear from the sellers and they're being squeezed on their commission, and I'm like, even if they wanted to stage, some of them can't, right? They don't have it in their whatever the case may be. And I'm just like, these agents put in a lot of work. You guys put in a lot of work. They don't, just like a stager, people don't realize from the time you consult to you put your package together, your estimate, you wait for them to approve it, you present the presentation package, and then the day of staging, that's a long period of time. And then agents too, that they're getting squeezed. So 1%. And it's like, but they have so much work out of pocket. They got to market, they got to, have their marketing packages, their photography. They want to stage so many things.
And now with video and social media and that component to it, right? It doesn't stop. It's just hard to continuously going. And then you still got to go into print, and you got to go to magazines, and you got to get it out there. Yeah. And you got to spend the money to get traffic in a down market, and much more harder.
Yes.
I just don't know how agents can go in there and charge 1% commission. Like, it's like,
I don't.
There's no way I can't get rid of
it. Sure, probably have to teach more agents how not to say yes to 1%, right?
Of course. You can't. There's no money in it.
That should be your next podcast. It's how to say no.
How to say no to 1%ers. What does a 1%er actually really do for you, right? And it's important, but people don't realize, your staging costs, and sometimes can run, depending on what the product is or how much you got to stage, but you can get with 2,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to one build, one match with it was, and it was a builder house, and we spent $15,000 on it, right? So it was a set fee, there was no monthly further charges on it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
15 grand.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it had to have been done. There's no way I'm going to go sell an $8-9 million house and have vacant rooms inside that. I ain't going to showcase my business that way, right?
Now, there was one listing that we had down in Forest Hill, and it had 8 agents before, and it was a custom house, beautiful house. I think at that time, we're going back 2 or 3 years ago, it was $9 million, I think. It was cheap. It was nice. It went through 8 agents, and nobody was able to sell it. So finally, this one agent brought me in and staged it properly. There's also a thing of like, oh, we got it staged. And they go and they put a little piece of artwork, a little flower, a little old glass table, and they call it a day. Like, you have to stage according to the property too, right?
Of course.
If something's a little bit older, there's still some nice furniture out there that you can put, right? Something more traditional. Not everybody likes modern. Not everybody likes mid-century. Not everybody likes colors. You have to see. And so we went in and we staged it properly. And after 8 agents, it finally sold.
I'll give you another scenario. There was a builder that built a house up in Etobicoke, 9 East Glen. We ended up putting it on the market just this year. We ended up listing it for like $3,850,000. A week before we were ready to go live on the market, another builder, just a street north, ended up listing their house, $3,888,000. Very comparable, really good size, both Georgian style kind of facade in the front. No staging.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to piggyback off that, right? I want to use that as leverage, right? We know that value-wise, we're pretty similar. Construction-wise, they have their finishings, we have our finishings, right? But how can I knock mine out of the park? I'm like, okay, so I go to the builder and I said, this is my plan. This is my marketing strategy. I'm so excited. Yeah. And I said, we need to get an artist in, and we need to throw a party. And I want to get this house fully staged, right? And I want to get the artist to put an art exhibit inside this home and put his art pieces throughout the entire house. And then in the basement will be an exhibit. If people want to purchase his art, they'll have their barcode, they go in there and they can see them, right? So, and I got food, I got a routine, I had a DJ, I had music going. We had 100 people to walk through this property.
What other better way to showcase the property?
What better way to showcase the property? And we ended up selling this property on the first day because I wouldn't allow anybody inside the house until it was fully shown the right way.
Yeah.
And everybody had to come in on that specific day of the grand opening.
Nice.
And it was on a Friday night. It was changed. So I just changed the vibe of how to actually sell a high-end estate property. And it was such a great turnout. And we had 5 buyers that were waiting because they called me from the sign and some pre-marketing from social media. And they said, oh, we want to come see it. I said, okay, to show up this day because this is the launch party of the day. They were like, oh my God, we're going to have, we had a few drinks, had a couple glasses of wine, that was wise. I said, bring some friends. We didn't care.
Yeah.
And it ended up selling that night for 99% of that asking price. That house is still on the market right now, unstaged, and still hasn't sold. Gone to the same agent twice. And I'm like, why aren't you calling?
No,
what do you wait
for?
Go
knock on the door. Say, sold the guy's house from down the street from you.
Yeah. So, I guess, some people are really loyal, committed on it. But eventually, that's how, young ages that are inspired, that I'm trying to inspire to as well, is like, make the initial investment within your business, because it's not just a job, it's a business. Yeah. Focus on a business the way you have your business, right? It costs you money to invest into that business, and I think that's what's important here.
Forget that. I think there's always a cost to business. And people, I think they wait, right? I will wait till I have this X amount of money to do my bit. You know what? Don't wait. Start it. You'll figure it out. As you grow, as you go, you get your next listing as an agent. You'll get your next property as a stager. But as an owner, you're just constantly on your feet. You're calling people. You're always doing sales. You have to grow, right? And when you're passionate about it, I think it comes easier.
Yeah.
So I really love it. So it's not like work for me.
Yeah, I think one day what we got to do is like a before and after video, right? And show that, it showcase how a house looked before, and the difference it does after, really.
Yeah.
You still got agents out there shooting photos from their phone. I'm like,
crazy. God, I was shocked. I mean, unless it's a tear down, I get.
That's an example of your brand, right? It's like, really, you want to put out that kind of quality? I was like, you give me that, or how many times you see him, in the picture, shooting the photo with it hard to see that where you see the shadow in there. I was like,
I see a kite.
There was one. I was like, guys, look closely. His zipper was down. Like,
Because you can zoom in now, right?
you can feel it, right? It's like, guys, look, the guy's zipper is down. At least he can put up the zipper. Yeah,
It's crazy. I get people, they're like, oh, I'm going to send you some photos of the property. Can you let me? Sure, I can quote it off the top of my head for sure. But they're so hesitant to even get me in for consults. And it's like, that couple $100 can get, I don't even have to stage it for you. I might even tell you, maybe this is something that we're not going to stage, but maybe move this furniture around. Or declutter, like the advice, right, that you're giving to the seller, to the agent.
Exactly, right. And
it's so worth it.
It's so worth it because, you know what I've done many times, and I know I'm going up, and this is one of my trade secrets, is that if I know, it's good. I tell you, if I tell 10 people, 9 won't even use it.
Yeah, exactly.
With the 1%ers. So I'll go in there if I know what competition I know I'm getting, and they're going through an interview. Of course, I always want to try to position myself last, like, because you're always going to try to decide, right? But I would bring my stager with me. Yeah. And I'd say I have her spend the first 15 minutes providing a free consultation, which I'm covering the cost for. And I don't even have a list inside.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
But when I walk in there, and I walk in, one of the professors say, nope, okay, this is what we got to do, Nick, we got to move this, we got to move this. Yeah. And we're bouncing off each other.
Like they're
blown away.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is this? And they love us service.
They love that. Like, this is where do I sign? Where do I sign? That's it, right? And that's what it's about. And, presentation is everything. There'll be people outside, like people ask me all the time, why do you wear a suit there? No. It's number one, it makes me feel good, right? I enjoy it. But my presentation, people look at me as a professional, right? And same thing as their home. Why are we dressing up? That proper.
As I was saying, like when you leave your house, right, you would never wear that amazing suit with like not amazing shoes or socks. Like you have to finish the whole package.
Correct.
And homes are the same way. It's like, for women, it's that little blonde dress, put a nice pair of heels, and it's the full.
It's the full package, correct.
Saving yourself $5,000 when you're listing a house, you're already there. You're investing. You're making that investment. You're going to make it back. Your ROI is so much better. So just make that extra. $5,000-$6,000 investment, get it staged, and we get good service. And then, we come from a generation where it's like service is very different these days, unfortunately. They don't pay attention to detail. And I like that service that you give, that hands-on, that white glove service. And that's what we do. And I think that's what's missing, right? I think that's why there's longevity for a team like you.
100%. And I think that'll be the difference maker moving into the new market.
Yes.
And where people are going to have to really make an effort on making sure that they provide that service to their clients. Whatever business that you're in, you got to get back there. And that's what's been missing in my opinion. So, but Judy, listen, this has been great to have you on the show. And I definitely think we have to do this again. There's so much insight, so much knowledge base that we can share with everybody that we can have definitely another show on this. But we'll definitely look out forward to try to do this again. And we'll definitely looking forward to working together and continued success. Yeah, no problem. Glad you can join us. All right, thanks.
Looking to buy or sell? Call a team you can trust. Don't believe me? Our Google reviews say it all. Put us on your lawn, your house will be gone. TheOPteam.com.